Yes. What's good, everybody, and welcome back to Veterans Minimum. I am your lovely host. Hopefully, it's lovely. Nick Deus at the Lame Shows, where you can find me. At Veterans Minimum, where you can find everything for this show. Shouts to everybody who sent us questions, whether it was through Twitter, Instagram, got one through email. Shouts to that, 1999 style. And, of course, the Discord. All the members of the Patreon. You have access to the Discord server if you're in the $5 tier or higher. Shouts to all of you. A lot of different kind of questions. We got some baseball. We got some NBA. We got some life. We got some NFL. We got a lot here. Flying solo on this one. Couldn't get a guest. Alan had something to do, and my other buddy was stuck in traffic on his way back home from PA. So it's just me flying solo. And I think with the topics that are going to be discussed, it makes sense why it's a solo pod. So shout out to everyone that sent questions. We do have some housekeeping notes. For the month of August, we have made changes to the Patreon, and the August contest is going to be a copy of Madden 21. So if you want to win a copy, we're doing a live drawing like we did for Roslo. Shouts to our girl Roslo, who won the girlfriend box. Roslo, if you're listening to this, congrats, number one. And number two, get in touch with me. DM me, slide into the DMs. Hopefully it's feet first. Shout out to the calf muscle in the video right now, which you can watch on YouTube too. I'm getting very, very good at this. So, folks, Madden 21, you need to be in the $10 tier or higher to be eligible for the drawing. And just to explain something when it comes to that, anytime there's a contest giveaway, you are automatically going to be drawn in. You don't need to hit me up and be like, yo, I want to be entered in it. I take everyone's name that's in the $10, $20, or $40 tier, and I throw you in a bucket, and I write your name down, and then I pick from there. So don't feel out of it if you haven't hit us up directly, hit up Phil in the Discord, hit up myself, or hit up Alan or someone that's affiliated with VM and be like, yo, man, I want in on the drawing. You just need to be eligible for that said month for that tier. So shouts to Roswell again. And, of course, $10 tier or higher for the month of August. You get in on the Madden 21 giveaway, depending on whatever system you want. We figure that out after the fact. And also, we're going to start getting names for the NFL Pick'em contest. I forgot who won it last year, but they won a nice prize. So, yeah, check out that stuff. And enough about that, man. Enough about that. I got the promotions out the way. We got a couple other ad reads we'll get to in a little bit. So, let's start it off. People's Podcast edition, number 16, I believe. Hopefully, I'm right. This one comes in from Piz. Piz says, which player for the NFL that has opted out for COVID purposes do you think will be missed the most? So, Piz, great question, and I'm glad that you got it in after the Jawan James news, because I do think right now, as I look at the landscape of the NFL, he's probably the most important one. I would say him and the dude from Kansas City, the doctor, who opted out too, because he's a starting offensive guard for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's a big part of their offensive line. Tardif, I believe his name is. So when you look at Jawan James, right, he is the tackle for the Denver Broncos. Excuse me, just trying to get the name of this offensive lineman for Kansas City. Laurent Duvernay Tardif. So he's the most interesting man in the NFL. He's opted out. So it's a toss-up between Tardif and Jawan James, Piz. And the reason why is because you're looking at two teams that I believe trust that they found their quarterback. Obviously, one, that was dumb when I said it's Pat Mahomes. Erase that part. But when it comes to Drew Lock, I think Denver is very confident in Drew Lock. And if you look at what they did this offseason, they're kind of doubling down on him. They get Judy in the draft, I think is a steal at number 15. Still can't believe that he fell that late. And then you get Hamler out of Penn State, who I'm a fan of. I think that he really didn't put up the numbers that he could have because he was playing at Penn State, and they didn't really have a passing offense like that. And then you bring in Melvin Gordon. You got Font year 2 coming in. You've done a lot to that offense. Also, Cortland Sutton was a Pro Bowler last year. And I know that there's a common misconception when it comes to Pro Bowl voting. The way I look at Pro Bowl is, were you one of the best players at your position? And yeah, he was, especially in the AFC. So you're looking at a really young and fun offense. I saw a report from Sport Track. Shout out to them. They do really, really good stuff when it comes to looking at contracts. I think the Denver Bronco offense gets paid less than $9 million combined. That's excluding Melvin Gordon because they brought him in via free agency. You always got to overpay players in order to bring them in. So you lose that right tackle now, Piz, for Denver, who is a lot of people's kind of AFC sleeper team to make the playoffs from not making it the year before. I would hop on board as well. I really like what Denver has done. But when you look at Denver just as a whole, there's one thing that's a little bit concerning with the Broncos. Though Drew Lock was 4-1 in his last 5 games, they did add a lot of offensive weapons. Their strength of schedule is going to be one of the harder strength of schedules in the NFL, especially if you kind of do the win-loss record in your head of the opponents that they'll be playing. So it's a big year for Denver, right? You don't know what's happening with the Chargers in the quarterback position, Tyrod Taylor, though that entire team is stacked. Tyrod Taylor got to do just enough in order to not lose them games is what I think the LA Chargers are going to be going into. And, of course, you have the Raiders moving from Oakland to Vegas, and there's a lot of uncertainty over there, though I do like what they did in the draft the last couple of years. So when you're looking at Denver, when you lose Jawan James now, a guy that they were banking on for the offensive line, I would say him. I would say he's the biggest factor right now that's not going to be playing in 2020. And look, this is as of Monday, August 3rd at 3:15. And who knows? I think more and more guys are going to come out. Odell Beckham Jr. came out and said that he doesn't feel right playing this year. He says that the owners own them. And, you know, there's been a lot of heat over the term owner over the last couple of years as well. And Odell feels as if the players are being forced to play, and there's all these circumstances with COVID. But I think if you're looking at Jawan James, it's definitely him. I would have said C.J. Mosley also, but the way I'm looking at it, C.J. Mosley's probably the best player that's opted out. But when you're looking at teams that might make noise and make the playoffs, like, it's not the Jets, man. A lot of shit got to happen for the Jets to make the playoffs. Where Denver, it seems more likely, especially for me, and especially if you look at the betting odds, they do have a higher win total than the New York Jets. They do have better division odds than the New York Jets. So when you're looking at that perspective, I do think that Jawan James is a bigger loss for any team when it comes to COVID-19 stuff. So, Piz, thank you for the question.